Colby. Colby
Hey,
Jack.
let me ask you,
Okay.
how do you feel about murdering unborn babies in the womb?
Abortion?
Well, that's the euphemism we use to make it sound like it's healthcare.
Um, it's a girl's body. She should do what she wants.
Yeah, I think a girl should do what she wants with her body, but should she be allowed to use her body to hurt another body?
It's not born. Doesn't count.
Well, no, but human life scientifically starts at the moment of conception. So biologically, that's when a human life begins.
Biologically, if it makes someone happy, it's what they should do.
Well, that's not a bio. Well, okay, I mean, fair enough, right? Like if it would make me happy to like leave my house right now and go like murder my neighbor, like I can do that, of course, right? But like, should I do that with
It's not the same.
impunity?
It's not the same.
Well, okay, so biologically life
No,
starts.
you listen to me.
Okay, let's hear.
An unborn baby has no life yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you kill it or not, you're not getting rid of any memory. You're not getting rid of anything because as a woman, you should be able to do what you want. And you could make a mistake. You could not want it.
So if a human's not wanted, we can kill them.
No, but if you fuck up, you fuck up.
Right. So if you make a mistake, the way to fix that mistake is to take the life of an innocent human.
Well, if you write the wrong letter, do you keep it?
Well, a letter is not a human life.
A test score affects your GPA.
Right. A GPA doesn't decide whether or not you live.
A GPA decides whether or not you go to college.
Sure. Totally. Yeah. To an indoctrination center where that teaches you that it's okay for women to kill their babies. I mean, I agree that that's what you get taught there. Yeah. So but here, can I just lay this out? And you just tell me if there's something, if you see a flaw in my logic, okay? So biologically, we can look it up right now, but biologically, the consensus is that human life begins at the moment of conception. Okay? When sperm meets egg and a brand new, never before DNA sequence is created. So now there's the scientific. Now the legal, right? So the definition of murder is the unjustified taking of human life with malice of forethought, right? So unjustified, there are justified reasons you can take life, but that's decided by a court for one, and for two, a fetus could never commit the crimes that forfeit life, right? And so the unjustified taking of human life, we've already discussed that it is a human life, with malice of forethought, meaning it isn't a mistake, right? You didn't trip and fall on your belly and cause a miscarriage, right? You premeditated, right? You planned to take a human's life away from them. So that is the legal sense. So now if we mix the legal with the biological, it is unequivocally murder, right? So it is the definition of murder, right? Do you see a flaw in the logic there?
Well, okay. Are you saying that abortion should be illegal?
Yes. I'm advocating for equality under the law for all human beings.
So let's say this. What if a woman has a health issue, she gets pregnant, but she can't have a baby?
Mm-hmm. Well, so
she's still pregnant. It's either her or her baby that's going to die on that table.
So there's a growing number of OBGYNs here in this country, right? Doctors, medical doctors, smarter than you and I, so I can't argue with them because I'm not a medical doctor myself. I'm guessing you're not. Maybe you are, but I'm guessing you're not. But there's a growing number of OBGYNs that would tell you that abortion is never medically necessary. And so who am I to argue with them, right? I'm just a layman. So if we go by what they say, then it's never medically necessary, especially today when we can perform things like C-sections.
I see your point.
So it's, in this country, we have a lot of propaganda that tells women that if they stick up for innocent human life, that they're actually a bigot against themselves, right? They're actually sexist against themselves. They're actually working against their own rights. But I'd say that this is the great injustice of our time, right? Where 150 years ago, people would walk by the slave auctions where they were auctioning off people, and they'd say, those aren't really people, so it's okay that we treat them this way, right? In 1940, in Nazi Germany, people said the Jews aren't really people, they're parasites, which is actually what people are now calling fetuses. They're calling them parasites, right? So it's okay if we kill them, right? It's justified. So now what we're doing in our time is we're drawing a circle around certain human beings, and we're saying, because they don't meet my standards of value, we can take their life away from them. When life is the most precious thing that any of us have ever known of. Like if you held a gun to Elon Musk's head and you said, give me every penny you've ever owned, he'd give you every penny for 5 more minutes of his life, because life is that precious. And we're happy to just steal that away from people. And not only steal away from it, but everyone will just argue to steal it away from them. And so, you know, it's an interesting place that we're in right now, where I think it's 3,000 abortions are performed every single day in this country. We're killing 3,000 children a day. It's a mass murder on a scale that no one in history has ever accomplished.
Well, you have a point. I see your point.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because it's an unpopular opinion.
I see your point. But I don't think abortion should be illegal, but the more you talk about it, it's not right. But if it is the last thing that a woman has to come to, then I don't think it should be illegal for her to make the right decision for herself.
Well, it's just tough because it's like, well, you know, women, you know, they'll kind of say, well, I should have that right, but it's really tough to say, you know, because the argument kind of used is basically the way people want you to look at this is they want you to see me as a person that's advocating against, like I want to control you, right? Like that's the narrative, right? Is that I want to control your body. I want you to be forced into doing something that you don't want to do to control you. When really I'm trying to stick up for a voiceless people. And I mean, like what you're saying, I want to agree with you, because I want to agree with people, and I want to be able to say, well, yeah, you know, maybe you should have that choice. But at the same time, it's like, man, it's pretty impossible for me to say, give up on that child. Like if you when you were in your mother's stomach, before you had a conscience, before you knew what was going on, and your mother was making this decision, I promise you would want someone to be making this argument on your behalf right now.
When I was in my mother's stomach, she tried to kill me herself.
Right. Well, okay. So fair enough. But aren't you happy that she didn't succeed? I know life's hard. Come on. I know life is hard. But I promise you, you would rather be here than not be here. It's true. I know life is difficult. Listen, I've had a really hard time. I'm not going to complain about life or whatever. But I'm so happy I was here. But I went through all the things that people say are so bad and you shouldn't go through. I was in foster care. I spent my entire 20s laying my head down on a rock, homeless. You know, I mean, my life, you know, it was not pretty. It was not easy. I was a bad person. I mistreated people in my life. You know, I've run the gamut. You know what I mean? I've been kind of through it all. I've been the victim. I've been the victimizer. You know, but I'm still so happy that I'm here. And my mother did it. She had an abortion too. So my mother had 5 kids, but like her first child, she did abort. And I'm very happy that I wasn't that child, right?
Do you think it was okay that she did that?
No, but you know, I
do you hate her for it?
Sorry, say that.
Do you hate her for it?
No, absolutely not. No, because people make mistakes. Listen, we all make mistakes.
Exactly.
We all do terrible things, like all of us, every single one of us. But it doesn't mean that we should call evil good, right? Because even if we make abortion illegal, it's still going to happen, right? But okay, so it's going to happen, but that doesn't mean it should be legal.
Logan aborted her baby.
What's that?
We had a friend that aborted her baby.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I would say that, there is forgiveness for the sin of abortion through Jesus. I mean, and that is true. Like, if we call it bad and we ask for forgiveness, we can be forgiven for that. But I would say that, right, I mean, she's not a girl that avoided becoming a mother. She is a mother who killed her child, right? I mean, but that's just saying the truth. That's just saying what it is. Because she brought that child into the world. That life began. That was her child. It was her responsibility to do everything in her power to protect her child. She ignored that and instead killed her child. And I would say that it would be good for her to understand what she did, because until she understands what she did, she cannot ask for forgiveness for what she did. And that's where truth comes in, and that's where being honest with ourselves comes in, and saying, hey, we have to say what we did was wrong, otherwise we can't be forgiven for it.
Well, yeah, I see where you're coming from. At the end of the day, the only way to get pregnant and have an abortion is by having sex. And you make that choice for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, unless you don't, and that happens too, and that's unfair. But yes. And don't you think that women would be less likely to have sex with a man that they weren't willing to have a baby with if they knew that they were going to be held accountable if they got pregnant and decided to kill their child? You would be like, listen, buddy, whoever the boy is, right? We're not going to do this because, like, I can't be put in a position where I'm going to have a baby when I'm not ready to have the baby, and I can't, now it has become socially unacceptable to kill the baby, right?
So now, switch the roles,
mm-hmm.
right? What if a girl gets raped?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, fair enough. And I think, well, again, that's like it's the hardest situation, but the first thing I say is we kill the rapist. Brutally, in the street, in front of their family. Brutally. Publicly.
So, he made a mistake, but you're going to kill him?
They made a mistake, yes. They made a mortal mistake. They used their body against another body, right? They made a mortal mistake. They are brutally killed in the street in front of their family. It will send a strong message to all men that we will protect our women. How many men are going to be willing to rape their friend or whatever, or a drunk girl at a party or whatever it is, if they know that there is a chance that they are going to be brutally murdered in front of their family in the street? Rape's going to go way down quick.
So you want to scare other men?
No, I want them to know that justice will be done.
But it was a mistake.
Raping a girl isn't a mistake.
But what if
they can be forgiven for their sin too, but that doesn't mean they don't get man's justice. And the justice is exactly that. We have to send the message, otherwise men aren't going to stop behaving this way. Right? As long as we allow them to just get it, because at this point, what do we do when a man rapes a girl? What do? Half the time we don't do anything at all. It's societally unacceptable for some girls to come forward and tell that they were raped. It's worse for a girl to tell that they were raped than it is for us to punish the rapist. Boys are just going to keep raping if that's the game that we're going to play, right? Because we're not telling them, because we're saying, listen, go rape a girl because we're not going to protect her. It's okay if you rape her. It's just rape, It's just using your body against another person's body in a way that they did not consent to, right? It's no problem, right? Go ahead, rape them. And maybe one out of, 20 guys, or who knows what it is, 1 out of 100 guys, he might go to prison for a little while. Not that long. It's not a big deal. He'll get out. He'll be able to rape again. You know what I mean? Right? So, like, that's the game we're playing right now. But if you start enacting justice against them, I promise rape's going to go away. I mean, it's not going to go away entirely, but it's going to go away in a big way. Like, You're not going to have willy-nilly rapes going on. It's just not going to happen. They're going to know that men are going to stand up for women, right? Which is something that we do less and less and less in society. Less and less and less. We do not protect women anymore. And look at what it's creating. It's creating a huge problem all over society. You can see it everywhere. And so we send the message, right?
So now, what if that girl that got raped is pregnant? Now what? She has to live with a child
yeah,
she didn't.
Well, it's really tough. It's really, really tough. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that. I mean, we surround her with love, right? We surround her with love and help and everything we can do. And if she has to put the baby up for adoption, then that's what she has to do. But she cannot answer.
But she didn't want that baby.
She didn't want the baby. I know. Listen, and bad things happen to people, and it sucks, right? Little kids get cancer. They go through a ton of pain, and then they die, right? Life isn't fair. But that doesn't mean that we can take it out on innocent people.
But she didn't want that baby.
I know. She didn't want that baby. I know.
Want to care.
Listen, I know it's hard. Listen, I know. Bad shit happens. But we can't kill innocent people because of it. I know she didn't want the baby.
Why did she have to go through all that pain, all that suffering, all that money spent on a child, even if she didn't put it up for adoption or did? Still, throughout her pregnancy, she's ultrasound, she's going to the hospital. She has to go to the hospital to push it out of her section. But she didn't want that. She didn't ask.
I know. Well, that's the responsible of us. That's the responsibility of us here in this world. Is that we, even in a terrible situation like that, we have to stand up and we have to do the right thing.
Interesting.
Because it's really hard. Listen, life is really hard. Like I said, it wasn't my fault. Like when I was a teenager and I ended up in foster care, and in a really bad situation, like the foster care house that I was in when I was 19 years old after I was out of there, I found out that the person that ran that foster care, he had blown his brains out because he got caught in an FBI sting where he's trying to diddle little boys, okay? So this is the kind of situation that I was being put in when I was a kid, right? This is bad stuff. It wasn't fair. I didn't ask for it, right? It caused me years and years of problems. I didn't get my shit together until I was about 28 years old. Like I said, I literally laid my head on a stone at the university that my mother got her degrees at under a vent that blew out hot air because if I slept anywhere else, I would have froze to death. And that's how I spent my 20s. When I look back at them, it was such a waste because I couldn't comprehend life because life hadn't been fair or whatever. But that's life, right? And I'm still glad that I'm here. And so, yeah, we can't just kill things because it's convenient or because it's inconvenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not fair when a girl gets raped, she gets pregnant. It's not fair when a girl gets raped, period. Right? Killing the baby is not going to unrape her. Right? It's terrible. It's terrible that happens to women. So that's my opinion on that. And I don't think there's any other just way to look at it.
Yeah.
I know you don't like it, right?
No, I'm hearing you out.
I know you are. And you're a very reasonable person, right? I can tell that, you're a bit bothered by it.
Not bothered by it. I just don't. I know everyone's not going to have the same opinion.
Mm-hmm. But what happens? What happens in 50 years? Because this is the way the tide is going.